Welcome everyone to Tech Canada's Deeper Insights webinar series. My name is Ruth Ann Marley, and as always, it is my pleasure to host this series. I would encourage everyone to make sure that you engage with our speaker today. Please use the question box at the bottom, the Q&A, type in your comments, your questions. Those of you who are on LinkedIn Live, go ahead and type in your questions as well. We've got a way to see those and respond to them. And if you were on before, as we got started, Agnes was saying it might be a little boring, but it won't be boring if you engage with us. No, it's not going to be boring at all. Hang in there, people. So it is the beginning of December, and this is the last of two webinars that we'll be doing in 2021. And our guest today is Agnes Lan. Agnes is the Director of Business Development for Change Connect, which is a leading management consulting firm. Agnes has 20 plus years of business experience working with CEOs, directors of sales, directors of strategic initiatives, and a founder. She is, and I can vouch for this, she is influential, she is inspirational, and she is passionate about growth. I would go into all of the other things that you are and your background here, Agnes, but I'd like to get started, and I know that you're going to address some of those things as we move forward. So without further ado, welcome, Agnes Lan.
Hi, everyone. How are you today? I don't know how it is out in the West Coast, East Coast. Well, I'm in Toronto, so man, it is beginning to look a lot like Christmas, I tell you that. It's getting cold outside. So today's conversation, Ruth Ann really want me to talk a little bit about partnership and what partnership means to me. So before we start, thank you for the kind word, Ruth Ann. A little bit about me. I started Change Connect about 10 years ago. So right now my day-to-day job is in sales, and I'm the head of sales here. But I think I would also describe myself in terms of why I love sales. I have an engineering background. It's actually like a really strange career path, considering that I have an engineering background. I did my years in engineering, changed into a management consulting after my B school experience, and sort of that was my calling. A few years into management consulting, and then I got an. I came from a family of entrepreneurs. So, all along I've wanted to be an entrepreneur, and, stroke of luck, maybe. I got this really unique opportunity to start my own firm. So, that was 10 years ago. We're celebrating our 10th year. But from a sales perspective and over the last, 10 years, we started from a full service management consulting firm, but in the last 6 years, we really rebranded ourselves into a sales consultancy, where anything and all things we do have to do with sales, right? Whether it's sales training, sales strategy, whether it's process improvement, whether it's CRM implementation, it's all about sales. And then a big part, I would say a lesson, and why when Ruth Ann talked to me about doing a session on partnership, it really resonated with me, because all along, if you imagine running a business, if you think about it, a big part of it is strategy, thinking about how to expand beyond your current situation and how do you drive growth. And I can tell you, it isn't until partnership have always been huge with me. I'm a people person, and naturally I make connection everywhere, and I like to help people, and I like to partner. But even in our journey, the idea of really putting 100% of our effort behind partnership didn't happen until actually COVID happened, when we were stuck at home, figuring out what is the next step. I mean, in consulting, if you can imagine, what is a consultant supposed to do if they can't go on site to help people? So it actually opened my eyes to a whole new world of partnership. We've always had fantastic partner we work with. We have a great partnership with 680 News. We've always we love the people there. They enjoyed us. We run events with them, same as Scotiabank. We have a great relationship with them as well in terms of exposure and expansion opportunities. But in the last couple of years, we really solidified some of our partnership. And now, I'll share some of that as we talk about partnership today. So today's agenda item, a few things. Number one, the psychology behind collaboration. And I'm going to use in today's conversation, I'm going to use collaboration and partnership sort of one in the same. Because to me, your partnership has to be a collaboration, right? Otherwise, what are you doing? Right? What are the essential elements of mutually beneficial partnership? What does that look like? I'm also going to talk a little bit about use cases, right? Which partnership worked, why they worked, and brainstorm a little bit about that, and then really bringing it down to your day to day, right? What is it that you enjoy, or how can you start setting up your partnership, and what does those elements look like? And I'm going to do some spreadsheeting with you guys. So get your pens and paper ready, get your other laptop ready, however way, get yourself ready so that we can actually come up with a plan together, or try to start a plan together. Ready to start? Let's do the first one. From a psychology of collaboration standpoint, in chat, why don't you tell me a little bit about how do you define the word partnership? What does partnership and collaboration mean to you in your current business situation? Drop me some notes there. Let me know.
And as people are sort of writing in, I think, a lot of people view, the business as, I'm going to help you, or, so just put in some words, just bullet points, even for what you consider partnership. Trust. Sylvain has put in the word trust, has been number one. Help and assist, support, working together, openness.
Good.
Yeah, it's a good start.
That's a great start. But when you think about, in terms of the idea of partnership, I want to flag two, or at least two types of partnership, at least in this context that I want to talk about. There are the partners that you collaborated with, things that partners I just talked to you about, the 680 News of the world, or the Scotiabanks of the world. Tech Canada, for me, is a partner, right? Tech Canadas of the world, we also collaborate with Canadian Professional Sales Association. So they are our partner, right? We go to market together. There is something that we need of each other that is beneficial for moving forward. And a lot of times when people talk about partnership, that's what they talk about. Well, what is your partnership strategy? What does that look like? But I also today want to open up your eye into talking about the idea of how do you partner better with your client, your key strategic accounts, right? A lot of times when people talk about key strategic account, they're trying to figure out, how can I sell them more, right? Every conversation around key strategic account, and I'm not saying that's wrong. I'm saying key strategic account goes beyond just selling them something. Now, if you're changing your key strategic account into a mutually beneficial partnership, there's got to be, going back to my relationship with CPSA and Tech Canada, there's got to be something mutually beneficial in driving this forward, right? Even on the key strategic account side. So if you think about it, number one, is it, you don't want that vendor prefer, like you have a vendor relationship to prefer vendor relationship to now a partnership. And in terms of a partnership, what does that look like? If you want this organization, your key strategic account, if you want this account, your decision maker, to go to you every year that they do budget and collaborate with you and have a conversation with you around that, then how are you going to do things differently so that this is a partnership? So you're not just selling them stuff. Like a lot of times when we actually think about key strategic account, and when we look at, let's say your top 30 key strategic account, laying all out, and we'll be actually doing a little bit of that today as well. When you lay it all out, when you look for patterns of behavior and what is it that your client needs, what I want you to think about too is when you truly think of these key strategic account as partners, there should be some internal operations change. There should be an operations element to just selling them more. Okay, so today's conversation really is around that first piece, the collaboration partnership piece, and also the key strategic account partnership piece. And what does that mean in order for it to be a mutually beneficial collaboration and partnership? So maybe some of your own words in the chat as well. So, in your word, what is a business collaboration? How would you benefit from a business collaboration in your world today? How can your business collaborate, and how would collaboration help business grow? And last but not least, when was the last time you had a really successful collaboration? Tell me in chat.
So it's great. We've got a couple of people that are on LinkedIn Live too, and they said, exactly that mutual benefit, the win-win, that was brought up a few times. Lee has just put in about, and Lee, what is business collaboration? Exposure. He's put down exposure, okay. And that's also part of the benefits, right? As you continue to grow your company, what are and maybe the networking, the ability to, to work not just with your client, but with your client's clients to extend that value add.
I always say, one of the other lessons that we teach here is around referral. So only of the people that love you already, right? And I'm not talking about people that you did poor work and then forget about this, but people that you did good work with, 93% of those that you've done, that like you and your work, said that they would actually give you referrals. But the problem is, the statistics also show only 11 of the salespeople ever ask.
Right. So, and that's the key, right? Get that. And, Harold put in about trusted relationships. If you trust and you've got that relationship, you can open the door. Sylvain wrote in again about, treating each other as equals, no rank, respected expertise on either side.
Yeah. Expertise is a good one.
All right, let's carry on.
Perfect. Actually, I'm gonna try to push you guys out of your comfort zone just a little bit. The last question is important to me. When was the last time you think you experienced a really successful collaboration? I want to understand, that. It's one thing for you to tell me trust and expertise, and you can recite from the book. I mean, I was talking to a client this morning. I am a bookworm, so I believe in the book. But give me some practical example of what you believe is a successful collaboration.
Right. And you don't need to go into details about who the client was, but what were those steps, or what did you know, or what were the flags that sort of said, yes, this is working? They built solutions together was one of the things that's come up. Yeah.
Good. Excellent. Okay. So let's talk about collaboration and
common cultures. Yeah. Two other things came in. Common cultures. They wanted similar outcomes and results. So I think that's really a good conversation to have at the beginning, is like, what do you need? What is your ideal outcome? And then working together towards that. All right, carry on.
Perfect. And that's exactly what I want to talk about. I find a lot of my sessions now with the client is always around mindful decisions, right? So what is the purpose of collaboration? A few things, and I want to bring it down to make it as easy to find a common purpose as possible. Number one is a purposeful connection. You don't know how many times I've heard people say, "Hey, Agnes, man, you're really good to work with. Let's do something together." And in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, okay, but what are we doing together? Like maybe because of my engineering background, I'm pretty stuck. Like I'm pretty result oriented. So I'm looking at it. I'm like, okay, you're right. It would be great from a personality standpoint to work together. But I think too many people collaborate and think they can do something together because of personality, and then they lack that purposeful connection. What is the reason why you are together, right? Second of all is, now you have a purposeful connection. What is it that you try to achieve? What is your goal? What is your end outcome? What is the problem you're trying to solve? Okay, I can tell you can have a purposeful connection, but if you're not solving an issue that you have currently, it's hard. It's hard because there's no motivation to go on, right? Are you trying to expand the market, right? Your current reach? Are you trying to break through a product development problem that you have had? Is it that you need more referrals? right? Whatever that is, the collaboration or the connection has to solve an existing problem on both sides, mutually beneficial, right? Last but not least is the share skill set and strength and perspective. I always talk to, I'm talking to some of our clients that, talk about, VC, raising money. What does that look like? That's a huge scene right now. But raising money, what does that look like? How do we leverage our funders? What does that look like? The key there really in terms of finding partner, it really is finding complementary skill sets. I was on with a client call this morning, and not just with partnership, but in general, a more diverse um, group will actually break through some of your ceilings because of the way people think and how they think differently. Same idea, especially in a partnership arrangement. If you find someone that's exactly like you with exact skill sets, then if you have a product development problem, what are you expecting in terms of breaking through that ceiling? You can't. You just hired another one of you, right? So what is purposeful connection, achieving a goal, and I would even go as far as saying at that stage, even defining some of the criteria for success and KPIs associated with that collab. What does that look like, or the partnership? Setting some end goals, and then really understanding how you fit into each other's complementary skill sets and perspective. This is an interesting one because I'm pushing for collaboration, right? So I'm saying partnership can, there's some stats around partnership and a well thought out partnerships as part of your strategy actually gain, can grow average 28% of your business versus just paid ads. So everyone's talking about paid ad right now, right? Oh my God, we have to spend more money on paid ads. We need to buy more Google AdWords. How do we get up in the ranking? But no one's really thinking about the traditional way of growing a business, which is collaboration and partnership. The other interesting stats I found was also 57% of the company say that they will use partnership to acquire new customer. So oftentimes, when you think about collaboration, you're not thinking about opening new market, right? You're thinking about extending your reach through a medium. 44% of the surveyed people said that they want the collaboration based on or because of new ideas, insights, or innovation, right? So there's the two sides of generally why people partner. But I also want to make sure I pull this stats out. 65% of partnerships fail based on research, right? These are not my numbers, these are research numbers. And as much as I am pushing you to consider partnership as a strategy for 2022, I also want you to stay away from poor partnership. And I will spend some time talking about it today because I don't want you to spend all this effort in partnership only for it to fail, which, if you think about it, more than 50% of partnership fail. Okay, let's talk a little bit about mutual partnership. If you have any questions, don't forget to leave them in the comment so Ruthann can pick it up for me. Before we talk about how or what are the elements for successful partnership, I figure we'll talk about example of why partnership fail. So first of all, mixing personal relationship with business. Like I said, oh my God, I love spending time with this person. Let's do something together. Not strong enough a reason for a partnership. Second of all, an equal commitment amount of time. That one I hate because sometimes you walk in, and that's where the collaborative KPI and the measure of success comes in. Because some people go into a partnership thinking that they will do this. Actually, I had a strategic session last week actually with some client, and they have silent partner, and the active partner expected the silent partner to be a certain way, and partnership failed because of miscommunication. So and time commitment, what is perceived as time commitment or commitment in general, if it's not met with equal force or reciprocal of effort, it may fall apart. It could be a reason for falling apart. A lack of success. People sometimes, oh, this is not working. Let's not continue. And sure, we talked about 65% of the stats in terms of partnership failing. But I think sometimes too, as I was, reading up more on partnership and I see day to day what's happening, sometimes I find the lack of partnership or the lack of success column also because people give up too early. I think, oh, within 3 months of this partnership, if I don't see a 1,000% growth, then this is a failure. Let's drop it. And I'm not sure about that. Like we're doing an influencer campaign today, and we have our targets. We're partnering with this particular influencer, and numbers are starting to look good, but they're not where it needs to be. But if I give up on this relationship too soon, then we're never going to go anywhere, right? So lack of success, but with the caveat that sometimes people pull up too early. Different of opinion. Someone talked about this before, right? Different of opinion and value, personality clash sometimes can cause an issue with partnership because it is an equal relationship, right? Is of equals, and how are you going to respect each other, right? It doesn't mean that you guys have to be alike. It means you guys have to respect. Last but not least is a failure of trust. Trust is important. And it sometimes go back to number 2, right? The commitment piece. If I trust and then that person doesn't seem to be spending all their time, that's one thing, right? But if there's trust, but it's when the trust starts to erode that becomes an issue. But going back to, okay, what are the elements, right? And I think you guys hit it bang on when you guys wrote in earlier is you need to build on strengths. Understand your weakness, but you need to build on strengths. How are you able to complement each other, or when I mean each other, I mean like the two organizations in each other's strengths. Second of all, you have to have shared value. Even if you're complementary in terms of your market size, the way that you go to market, if you don't have shared value, it's tough, right? And last but not least, sometimes when people talk about partnership, it's very, you can use nowadays the biggest partnership in Canada. I'm not sure how it is in the West Coast, but Toronto, we're huge on the whole Justin Bieber Tim Hortons partnership right now. Like my kids went, let's go get a Timbit. No, Team Biebs. Like, okay, how are you actually executing? What is the full integration? Is it just Bieber landing Tim's his name? Is it that he's into it and he's actually figuring out how to flavor this Timbit so it's to his taste buds so that his fans can understand what more of Justin Bieber like, right? How far is the integration? How deep is it? In terms of exactly what you expect from each other, and maybe not just a sharing of existing reach. Any questions so far? Okay.
No, nothing up. But right. I see communication being critically important to all of those reasons why, collaborations fail. You talked about setting clear expectations, about communicating, about setting the KPIs, timeframes, a lot of project management in that.
Absolutely. Let's see. And I'm going to talk a little bit about this particular brand. I would imagine everyone knows GoPro and Red Bull. You're thinking, why? GoPro makes cameras, right? Action cameras, and Red Bull is an energy drink. How is it possible that they can collaborate? So actually, for those that don't mind me emailing you after and adding you on our mailing list, if you can put your email on chat, then that way I can send you stuff afterward. But this particular one's interesting. I'm going to send you a video on their collaboration. Because if you look at GoPro and you look at Red Bull, they're really not just a camera company or a energy drink company. If you think about the way they go to market and the way they sell themselves, they're really a lifestyle brand, right? So they saw that lifestyle, action-packed, sort of chasing after the same type of, whether it's athlete or go-getters or doers or adventurous, right? They saw that the opportunity to collaborate there, and they've actually ran a few really, really successful co-branding campaign. So like I said, leave your message or leave your email in the chat, and then I will send you the video around it. It's actually a fantastic collaboration. But today's discussion is really about you. you. What do you like? What do you think about your organization and your partnership? Let's say partnership or key strategic. I'm gonna let you think about it. What is it that you think you can do? So let me take you off PowerPoint, and then we're gonna actually do some planning together today.
All right. So yeah, we've got some things in there. All right.
Do you want to ask those questions before, or do you want to start spreadsheeting before?
Yeah, I think what we do is just sort of power through, Agnes, and some people will be writing some notes down, but just go through all of the things that you want people to think about, because there's nothing in the chat as at this point. Yeah.
Okay, great. So let's do this. This is actually one of my favorite exercises at the end of the year for all our clients. This is our partnership key strategic account worksheet that we walk our client through. And there's two parts to this worksheet. Number one, you have to identify either the partner or the key strategic account, what you're talking about. We want to talk and we want to investigate into the current state. Okay, what does that look like in various different areas? And I'll walk you through that. And then what is it for, let's say for 2022, what is it that you want to get to? What does your future state look like? Ultimately, as we walk through this worksheet, I want to find the gaps. What is the gap between your current and your future? And then based on the gap, we'll come up with some action items associated. Okay, and then that should be in your CRM or in your to-do list so that it becomes a set it and forget it type of rule. But the power of this exercise, it really is obviously going through the whole partnership and strategic plan, not only for one client or partner, but for all your strategic relationship in 2022. Because what it ultimately gets to is what I like. I'm very systematic. I mean, you would expect that from an engineer. So is an SOP, right? What is it that we need to get to from a systematic way of proceeding forward? So from this, from this generic exercise, there is the growth account that we want to grow, whole account that we want to hold, churn account that we want to churn, and then who are some product partners or channel partner? How frequently are we meeting them? What are the touch points for? Who is actually in that meeting, and what is the objective or agenda for that meeting? So then we realize when an account is set as growth account, then we have a roadmap for growing all account, whether they were on the key strategic account plan or not, right? For the beginning of the year, same as a product partner, right? Or a marketing extension, right? What is it that we need? How are we doing it? How are we collaborating to ensure? And going back to what Ruth said, right? Bang on, is sometimes the collaboration, the communication is taken for granted. So how can we make sure that there is open communication channel for very clear next steps, but also what is that criteria for success, and setting it up early and seeing the roadmap to success allows people to keep focus on your relationship. Okay, the plan. Okay, so let's spend the next 15 minutes on this. So get your pencil, pen, the other screen ready. Okay, so think of one partner, either a partner or a key account, or maybe your biggest account that you want to grow. Think of one relationship that you want to grow in 2022. Oh, you know what? With that, I'm gonna do Tech Canada, okay?
Excellent. For those of you that don't know, Agnes is a member of Tech Canada, so she's got a very strategic partnership with us.
So let's say for me, I'm gonna show you guys how to do it. So first box is all around expected revenue, right? So currently, let's say for now, let's say 2021, right? For the sake of this exercise, 2021. what is your expected revenue from this partnership, right? So I'm new to tech. I'm actually not that new. I joined beginning of the year from a member's perspective, but from a speaker's perspective, I'm fairly new to the gig. So I haven't that's what I haven't earned any money through this channel. But as a speaker, well, what is it that we're looking to do in the future? Well, my relationship with tech, let's say, I can speak, right? I can speak and I can, guys, if you're a tech member, make sure you let your let your chair know to find me on the speakers directory and book me out for a conversation. But what does that look like in terms of maybe, I don't know, X dollar amount? Let's say I want, so that we're not giving away too much with then. Let's say it's like $1,000. Okay. But my point of this exercise for you guys is you guys have to have a financial goal, right? I'm not opposed to non-financial related partnerships. But for today's conversation, I want to make sure there is a financial goal associated because I do want, I mean, I'm a sales consultant. I want to move your business forward. So I want to increase your top line. So let's talk about current. And if this is my expected, right, it's going to be more than that. I mean, like if you think about my partnership with tech, right? I'm learning. That's one thing, right? I've already done my partnership with tech has actually brought. I shouldn't say zero. That is wrong. I have made even in my tech group, I made two fantastic partnerships. I have two businesses. I have an app business and I have Change Connect. So on my app business, someone in my group, I don't know if she's here, she's really busy lately. Someone in my group is connecting me with a government relationship, and she's trying to lead us, trying to figure it out how to do it that way. But the other partnership I made within my group, actually, I happen to be in the same group as the president of Canadian Professional Sales Association. So, and it's funny because as you guys know, the member initiation procedures all around. Well, is there an overlap, right? You want to make sure that you are an exclusive in that industry. And I met with Sandro, and it was, I mean, it was one of those things that were like, you know what? It's not a we don't impede in each other way. We actually, if we collaborate, we're able to help each other grow. So right away, we actually set up a relationship with CPSA already, and it's through tech, right? It's amazing. So what is your revenue goal, right? What does that look like? What are you expecting, and what is your future growth? Now let's get that out of the way for some fictitious conversation here, but numbers here. But first question I'm going to ask you is your current relationship, right? Your current relationship with this entity, what does it look like? Number one, how deep is the trust? Okay. Number two, why do you think you want that account in the first place? Okay. Number three, how often do you see or communicate with them? Okay, let's answer some of that question. Just to illustrate a point, I'm going to change that number.
Yeah, I think just for the sake of brevity as well, Agnes, I think if you just kind of push forward and put a few ideas in, because some people are probably not, they might be listening in their cars and so forth. So,
okay.
Yeah.
So let's say for my relationship, like let's start off this. So my relationship with tag, for example, I have a good relationship with Ruth-Ann, and then she's able to make some connections there with the different shares, right? I haven't failed her just yet, so we actually have pretty good trust. I would imagine good trust. And we won the account because I would imagine my chair, my awesome Lucy, my awesome chair have suggested that Ruth-Ann connects with me, right? And How often do you see the communication? Ruthann and I have to admit, when we have a project, we're pretty responsive. When we don't have a project, it's probably not as responsive or as frequent. So maybe once every 2 months or so for now, or actually regularly, and then daily if we are working on a project. Okay, so but the whole point of this is, if I want to, I actually moved it up to $100,000 account, just so I can illustrate what I mean by it. So let's say if this was a $1,000 account right now, and I want to move it to a $100,000 account, or even $1 million account, or partnership, then talking to Ruthann every 2 months is probably not important, not enough, right? So we need to talk about frequency of meeting, right? And then maybe one connection in there is not enough. Maybe we want to talk about 3 or 4 direct connections, and then really figuring out who those are, right? And maybe get to know 4 to 5 more chairs, right? You got to work backwards. In order to get you what you want, what is it that you need to do, and what are you doing now, and where's the gap, right? So even in the customer relationship column, my point here is, well, in the end, because it talks about current versus future state action item, I probably have to get myself a bit more, if tech partner is going to be my key partnership next year or this year for growth, then I probably have to get off my butt and get to know and make sure that I'm well connected within the tech community. Right, go to more tech and networking, and making sure that I meet more Ruthanns within the world. So let me walk you through the rest of the worksheet so that you guys can do this on your own later. The next thing, the next big thing to consider is your executive relationship. So do you have relationship with the executive level, right? What does that look like? Who are these relationship with? What position are they? Right? How friendly are you with the people on the top? And if not, is there any potential for developing this relationship in the near future? Okay. What does that look like now? If you want to do $1 million with them next year, what does it look like for later? Same as if it's a collaboration, right? Same idea if it was a partnership. I say the Beebs relationship with Tim Hortons, right? The fact that Tim's pay him, I would imagine, to use his name, there's a revenue target here, right? There's a revenue target here. What does that look like from an executive relationship standpoint, right? Beats doesn't have to partner with Tim Hortons, and vice versa, right? What is the mutual beneficial partnership in terms of them collaborating? And you can't do it if you know Beep's assistant, I bet you this wouldn't work. So what does that look like from an executive relationship standpoint strategically? Next things to consider is the competition. And this is actually when we work with clients, this part is where sometimes the planning stops. Let's say the competition, not just, like I said, it could be a collaboration as well. How does your competition fit in? So let's say I'm running a partnership with Tech Canada. Well, Tech Canada is going to have a lot of sales consultancy as part of their world, right? So and I'm not advocating for zero competition. I love competition. I think competition is what makes people grow. So, but recognize there's competition. So how does the competition fit into the whole landscape of this partnership and strategic account planning? Do they have relationship with the account or partner already, or decision makers already? And how do you stack up against a competitor? What is your value proposition for that, in terms of what they know about you today and what you want to make sure you sell them tomorrow? And sometimes when we work with clients, we discover that the relationship with the executive and the competition is so strong, right? We're the BCD vendors, right? So, or choice, even in a partnership, we're the BCD choice. So as we plan out for the year, we're like, you know what? This is not going to be it. This isn't going to be the account we bank on. This isn't going to be the partnership that we bank on. Let's find someone else, right? You gotta be realistic in terms of what the future outcome would be. Next is room for growth. So if you sell them a product today, and when you collaborate in one area today, how can you do more with them tomorrow? What does that look like? Is there opportunity to do more tomorrow? Now get down to the meat. What is the potential for partnership? Is there potential for partnership? Remember I told you, from a partnership standpoint, where's the collaboration? When GoPro and Red Bull collaborate, what are they exactly collaborating on? What is the opportunity, right? Is it market exposure? Likely in this case, because they did a co-branding exercise for a lot of expeditions. But if you look at the collaboration partnership, aside from market exposure, is there an opportunity to maybe a geographical expansion, maybe a product development variation? There's a lot of sneaker spokesperson now, right? What does that look like? Why is a sneaker brand hitting up, like they're not even just hitting up athletes anymore, hitting up influencers? What does that look like? And then strategic alignment, exactly why there is a strategic alignment. Going back to what I said about GoPro and Red Bull, the strategic alignment is the fact that they are not just a product company. Both of these brands are lifestyle brands. So if you look at the strategic alignment, it makes sense for them to collaborate. When we talked about mutually beneficial relationship, what does that look like? And how do you move both of the company forward because you were able to collaborate? And last but not least, this piece is all about, what is the current state of relationship? What would you like to take the relationship? And what are some action items associated so that you can bridge between current state and future state? Okay. All righty. Sounds good. So that's the worksheet. And if you do it in collaboration, you do it with all your accounts and all your partner, you actually have a pretty decent both partnership plan for the year and also a key strategic plan for the year. So I'm sure the recording would be available, but I would highly encourage you to work with your leadership team on this so that we have action items associated. Back to what we said earlier, right? Some of the reason why partnership fail is because there is no solid plan. Yeah, there is a goal to collaborate, but there isn't into full and deep integration as to what is the next step. So we want to ensure that there are good partnerships. Ruthann, I know you want to have some Q&A time, so I'm going to kick it back to you and you let me know what does that look like?
I think that, a lot of people were, it was a little too granular to go through each and every part of the spreadsheet, but the spreadsheet is very valuable. And I think that, again, what I'd like you to do is maybe just to sum up some of the ways in which you might approach bringing that spreadsheet to a partner. What might be the conversation that you have prior to that?
That's a great conversation. So if you think about the actual work plan, the worksheet really just gives you a framework for talking to your strategic partner to find a collaboration point. So you do, and the point isn't about the spreadsheet. A spreadsheet is a dime a dozen, guys. The key is the framework, the ability to communicate. So always think about that as a way to communicate.
Excellent. And like you say, it gives you a template for it so that you don't miss any of those absolutely essential elements that, each and every one of those touch points. And I saw that you had that at the bottom of your frame there, that those touch points are there so that you don't have any of those misfires in communication as you go forward in the relationship.
Absolutely.
Super. As Agnes had said, this has been recorded and I have captured a few people's emails here as well. Agnes, do you have a final slide which might have some of your contact information that you could share with everyone?
Sure.
So that they can maybe get a hold of you either through Change Connect or through via LinkedIn as well might be another option for some of our people that are live on LinkedIn.
Great. So couple of things. Number one, I think the biggest thing is I want you to reflect on today's conversation and really think about what is your biggest takeaway today and how would you do things differently. I'm lucky. I have a really unique name. So if you go to on LinkedIn and you search for Agnes Lan, there's like only 3 of us in the world. So I'm sure you'll find me fairly easily. Otherwise, you can drop your email on the chat and then I'll grab it from Ruthann. And otherwise, you can email me directly at agnes.lan@changeconnect.ca.
Perfect. Yeah, we've got a few people that have come in on that. So what final takeaways, Agnes? What are the 2 pearls everybody wants to put in their pocket from today?
I think from experience, for me, number 1 is mindful decisions. I think a lot of people go into a partnership thinking if you put two bright minds together, then a partnership would work. And I think that's a common mistake, which is why it leads to the 65% failure. So there's got to be there's got to be a reason, mindful decision. There's got to be reasons for being together, and there's got to be tracked KPI and success criteria for ensuring the partnership works so that we're focused on the prize.
Perfect. Well, thank you, Agnes. I really appreciated having you on today. And as I said, it's wonderful that whenever we have an opportunity to bring a tech member to speak on behalf of their business to other tech members and to the chairs, to me, it is that perfect partnership. It's a way in which we can highlight, the talent and the acumen that we have within our membership to the world. And so I thank you again. And to everyone, this has been recorded. It will be available on our Tech Canada website and also on our Tech Canada Deeper Insights YouTube channel. So for those of you looking for those things, that's where you're going to find them. So thank you very much, Agnes. Agnes Lan joining us today from Change Connect. Take care, everybody.